The only God I could believe in is a God of love, because I knew that love had been a part of my life. I knew what it was like to love people and to be loved by people. I was very fortunate in that way. My personality, my upbringing, examples in my life, I was friendly and people were friendly back. So it made sense to me that God had always been a part of my life. And it's because God is love. God was a part of me. That's the only God I could believe in. And guess what? As I started searching, I found support for that. St. Paul said, in God we live and move and have our being. He said, you know, God's not in the temple or on the mountain. In God you live and move and have your being. And that's exactly the kind of God that I believe in. And that made sense to me. But I have to tell you, it took me a while to embrace that God was love. I still, in some region of my mind, I was afraid that if I embraced that, I'd get punished, maybe, if I'm wrong, right? But I decided, look, either God doesn't exist or God is love. And eventually I was able to embrace that. And to embrace that God is in me. God is in me and in you as much as God was in anybody. God is in you and me as much as He was in Jesus, Moses, Buddha, Krishna, Lao Tzu, or anyone else. The difference is they knew it and they cultivated it. They were conscious of it. See, I think people have distorted Jesus' understanding of God. I really do. I think they were influenced by the Old Testament understanding. And that was one of the questions that I explored. Because in my mind at that time, Christians believed that you had to accept Jesus before the Holy Spirit would come into you. And I couldn't buy that. It just didn't make sense in my heart. I'd known nice Jewish people. I've known nice atheists. I've known people from different religions. And to me, the only thing that made sense was God is love, because I saw people who radiated love. And I knew if God was anywhere, it had to be in human hearts, even though it can get frustrated and repressed. And people somehow get cut off with that. Now, I know that's challenging to believe, especially when we see things like racism that's gone on for hundreds of years. And we see things like the Nazis and things that people do to others that's horrible. I mean, if there's any challenge to the idea of God being present in human beings, that would be it. But I think that it's a frustration of that awareness. I believe, really, as Anne Frank said, I believe that everyone deep down is good at heart. That there really is. If we could wave a magic wand and heal people who are hateful, you know? If we could heal them of the bitterness and the hate and the fear, we would find love. I really believe that. That every person's heart ultimately could be melted. That was the theory behind Dr. King and behind Gandhi and their non-resistance, was that if you're loving and you approach things in a way that makes people think, I'm not saying be a doormat, but they felt like love would melt the hearts of the racists. And it did. In many cases it did. There's still more work to do, obviously. But that's the idea of God that I had to come to conclusions for. And you know, it took me a while to embrace that, to finally accept it and to know, yeah, that's the only God I can believe in. Thank you for watching. We upload new videos and content every week to inspire and empower you on your spiritual journey. We look forward to seeing you again soon.